You get SUVs, then you get what's now called performance SUVs. And this is a beast of a performance SUV. Obviously Mercedes-Benz, but that's the badge that tells you what kind of performance and what kind of beast this is. Because it's not just a standard Mercedes-Benz, it's an AMG. And it's a proper, genuine, full-on AMG. Obviously comes with a top spec possible. We're not even going to spend time going through all the spec that you're going to get on this vehicle because it is just so high and so exceptional. But you look at these 22-inch AMG mag wheels with these massive red AMG calipers behind. It tells you the story, of course. But that is what really makes all the difference. V8 bi-turbo 4MATIC Plus. Because this is the GLE Coupe. If you step back slightly and have a look, and you see the sharp angle to the roof over the C-pillar, and you look at that sloping rear to the roof, cut down by a couple of centimeters from the standard GLE, just to give you the Coupe SUV. Massive, look at the length of the rear doors. You get the idea. Pop open the door over here. Of course, you've got the running board to help you step in if you want, because that's so important as well. Nice, significant running board. I don't even have to tell you the kind of space you got in the back. Obviously, the headroom is slightly compromised as opposed to the standard GLE. But so what? Who cares? Burmester sound. You've got, of course, the center console over there in the rear, which has aircon controls, of course. You would expect that, wouldn't you? And then USB down below that as well for rear seat passengers. So important, again, that they get those things. All these sort of features that really make all the difference in the world. Space for just space and more space. Of course, that's what counts. Isofix in the back, of course, you expect as well. The Burmester speakers over there. The carbon fiber type effect that comes on the dash, on the doors, everywhere around the car. The stitching, you can just see it everywhere you look, can't you? It really is quite something. Again, we move back and I mentioned, look at this angle to the rear here, coming down the rear hatch. It's so sharply angled, of course, compared to the standard GLE. Of course, press button to open the boot. And you've got a massive boot over here. You can see the size of it. It really is big. And you've got, look at that. It's a spare wheel. It's a good size one, but of course you need the compressor kit to pump it up if you do need it. So it's kind of somewhere between a space saver and a normal. Let me call it that. Reach up high, can be adjusted, I'm sure, if you want to close. And also another button over here, which if I press it, I'm not going to do it now, but it pops out your tow bar, which is hidden normally. So go down to the tow bar now, and I'll press the button, and it should have popped out. Let's have a look what's going on. There it is, and it popped itself out. And now it should go back again. There seems to be quite a delay on it, and it should go back again, but I think you get the idea of that. And there you go. Press that button again, close the boot. Of course, typically Mercedes, over here when you engage reverse gear, that flips up and there's your reverse camera. Before I even talk about that, look down. The 4 exhausts over here. These trapezoidal, I think I'll call them, exhaust pipes. Tells you business. Big business. Diffuser underneath over there as well. All those sort of features you've got. Come back up, your LED tail lights, of course, over there. And that's the badge. That says it all. 63S. 63S bi-turbo V8 means 450 kilowatts, 850 Newton meters of torque. It talks. This is a performance monster if you want it. But it's also can double up as, of course, luxury family transport in the best possible sense of the word. It's entirely up to you which way you want it. Starting off behind the wheel, of course, you've got the very typical Mercedes instrumentation, but of course this is the AMG version. So for example, I've got it set on the performance setting on the screen, and I'll just play with the throttle a little bit, and you have a look over here where it shows you kilowatts, it shows you Newton meters as you just accelerate a little bit, even shows you boost, of course, with the bi-turbos over there. And of course, remembering that there is the EQ, Mercedes electric assistance over here as well. So for example, you've got when it's charging, regenerative charging, etc. It's not electric as such, but it certainly assists the motor. And considering the power, considering the performance, considering everything, if you have a look over here, we've done 501 kilometers on this test, 11.9 liters per 100. That, I think, is pretty exceptional for this car. And I think it's a really, really good result. So just take that into account. Of course, you can reconfigure the instrumentation in any which way you want. I'm not going to go through it. You all know what that's like and what it's about. You come down to the steering wheel. It's still the older type wheel, not the new one from the new E-Class, but it really gives you everything, does everything. But it's here that, of course, AMG again comes to the fore. Because, of course, over here is the little knob you turn, for example, to go from comfort to Sport Plus, and to race mode, of course, which is the AMG mode. You'll see when I click over there and you look over here, Sport Plus, and of course race, and of course you can configure all the different items over there, the exhaust, etc. It goes off again. You also, of course, have these two little buttons over here, the AMG Dynamics button over there, which again can control those, or the settings button over there, and that of course gives you various different settings when you want to go into mean mode, shall I refer to it. It's all there. I think you know what it's like. But of course, when you're in race mode, as I am now, and if I click a button down here, we will put it into mean exhaust mode, and just listen when I rev the engine a little bit. You hear those crackles and pops as well that come through. That's what the AMG is all about. Of course, you've got, again, the standard cross-facious screen from Mercedes. I'm not going to go through all of this because there is just so much. And, of course, everything you can want to set, every which way you want to set it. You've got all of those. You've got there the track pace I showed you, new track, AMG performance. You've got all of that. It's all there. You move down a little bit and across the dash, you'll see the carbon fiber effect that you have throughout the car. Again, very neat, very useful, and really does work. Down here, of course, you've got your USB over there. You've got USBs there. You've got a USB in the center console under the armrest. You've got all of those. And, of course, over here, you've got the typical Mercedes infotainment tracker system, which is a little bit clumsy but does work. Again, if you don't want to use that control on the steering wheel, you can use the dynamic switch over here to change modes again. Coming down over here, of course, what the GLE would have is, of course, where you can adjust the ride height on the vehicle as well a little bit, if that's what you're wanting to do. And you can adjust dampers and exhaust over there as well. So those are all repeated. Interesting, they're repeating of certain controls on this car that Mercedes seem to feel necessary, but it's there. So this car is a contrast. It's a Jekyll and Hyde. You've got all the performance in the world, obviously, from that engine, that 450 kilowatts, 850 Newton meters of torque in an SUV body, even if it's a coupe SUV body. The question I have to ask is where this genre came from, this performance SUV. It's strange, it's weird, it's wonderful, it's all those things you want to do. Yet it's cocooned in total luxury as well. You've got the electric seat adjustment on the doors for both driver and passenger. You've got the heating and cooling on the seats. You've got all of these things and all that trim, as I've said. The plush leather, the special sport seats that this car's fitted with that are actually an option. And of course, the options list goes on and on. But of course,
to a person who buys this car, it could just be about the performance. Don't forget, of course, that the 9-speed Mercedes gearbox is the AMG speed shift version. So it also adjusts its tracking and its programming with how you're wanting to drive at any given time. And that's also important. And it does make a difference. And of course, I've now got it in mean mode. You can feel it. You can hear it. I think you get the picture of what this car is capable of. But it's obviously also very capable of a much more sedate cruise, if that's what you want. That's where I call it the Jekyll and Hyde. And it's something that only you and your budget can ever decide. I love the GLE. Don't make any mistakes. It's not about not liking the GLE or the GLE Coupe. It's about which version suits you, which version would suit your life, and which version makes the most sense to you. I tested the 400D a while back. Of course, that one is the cruiser, the long leg, the all-day, everyday cruiser. This one has so much hooligan factor built in. And it's almost as if in comfort mode that it's straining against the leash. It's almost as if it's saying to you, come on, let me go, let me loose. What are you doing to me here? You're being unfair. So the question becomes, which one would actually work for you? Well, I don't know. That's something only you can decide. This car is priced at 2.97 million rand plus extras, as we're driving at approximately 3.25 million rand. It's a lot of car for a lot of money. It's the only way I can put it. Of course, there are competitors from BMW, from Jaguar with the SVRs, from Range Rover SVRs. I'm leaving out Porsche Cayenne turbos. They're all those that can compete and compare with us. They're all in this. Don't forget Lamborghini Urus as well, and Aston Martin DBX, and I'm going on and on. They're all there. They're all possible competitors to this car. It's really a fascinating little micro niche for the ultra wealthy. But I think it must be a lot of fun for those that can afford this. And of course, that would always be the question of where you fit into this category and where you think you belong in this category. So I would have to leave it there for you. All I know is it's a lot of fun testing a car like this and having it for a few days too. I hate using the word play with, but that is what it comes down to at the end of the day. All I can say to end is, for Motor Matters, I'm Eleanor, and I'll see you next time.